What's up, guys? We just got to the casino, pulling up Caesars in Danville. Gonna play a 1-3 session today. Maybe some 2-5, depending on how the 1-3 list is looking. Yeah, let's go run this thing up.
Getting things started here with hand number 1, we're under the gun and look down at 6-4 of hearts. We make a speculative open to $10. A guy in the middle position 3-bets me to $40. A little background on this player: he was one of the better players at the table. He's well aware of what he was doing, and he plays a pretty tight and narrow range. I've played a few hands with him in the past. So given my stack depth and some fancy implied odds stuff, I decided to make the call. Everyone else folds, and we go heads up to a flop of Jack 8-3 Rainbow. I start off with the check as I'm out of position and have absolutely nothing on this board. He leads out for $35. I start counting out chips, and I'm thinking about what hands my opponent could have that start with this line. Certainly overpairs, Jack X, open-ended straight draws, those kind of hands. Against Jack X and his draws, there's a possibility I could get those to fold on later streets depending on the run out. So with my speculative backdoor straight and flush draw, I make the call. The turn is the 5 of diamonds. Not terrible. Definitely a better card for me than it is for him. So with that in mind, I decide to take the betting lead on this card, starting my bluff now with the idea that he shouldn't connect with this card too often given pre-flop action, and I could blast off clean rivers, putting Jack X in a tough spot. Unfortunately, he makes the call. The river is the 2 of clubs. Now, whoever said a deuce on the river doesn't help anyone? This is the perfect run out, not only for my hand, but the situation. The front door straight bricks out. I unblock all of his Jack X holdings like Ace Jack, King Jack, Queen Jack, all those Jack X garbage hands that would just make curious calls on the river when the draws miss, and not to mention it actually makes my hand. So I say those magic words to put my opponent to the test. He goes into the tank for about 30 seconds and puts in the crying call, not loving it, and we scoop. About 15 minutes later and a few garbage folds later, I decided to give you guys a great look at the stunning chips here in Danville. Also, while managing to peel Jack 8 of diamonds in the cutoff. The under the gun straddles on this hand, and there's a limper in the low jack, and I'm not having any of that. I raise it up to $20. The button and the low jack both make the call, and we're going 3 ways to a flop of 8-5 deuce with 2 clubs. Now, on this particular board with 2 players, I definitely think I have the best hand here majority of the time. The low jack player only limp pre-flop, so I doubt he has pocket 9s or better, and the button cold call my open rather than squeezing, so he could have some combo of weaker Broadway cards like King Jack or Queen Jack, or maybe Ace X like Ace 10 or Ace 9, just looking to place position. Either way, I'm not letting either one of them off the hook that easy. So after the low jack checks, I put in a C bet of $40. The button folds and the low jack folds, and we take down a small one. If you've made it this far and enjoying the content, please hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps me out a lot being a new poker vlogger. And now that you've done that, don't kill me in the comments for this one, but I forgot to show my hand to the camera. We have pocket eights on the button, so you just have to take my word for it. There's an under the gun limp, and under the gun +2 makes it $15 to go. Low jack and cutoff call before action's back on us. And we're over 300 big blinds deep and getting a good price to set mine versus multiple opponents, so no need to bloat the pot anymore. I make the call and under the gun calls. Going multi-way to a flop of 10-6 deuce rainbow. All things considered, this is a great flop for my hand. Only one overcard and a super dry board, and I can discount a lot of overpairs to the 10 because we would have heard about them pre-flop with all the action. So my plan going forward is to try to take down this pot as quickly as possible before scare cards come out. Action checks to the original raiser, who c-bets very small, about a quarter pot. When this player does this, he's saying he doesn't really have anything strong on this board. He's kind of just c-betting just because he feels like he has to, as I've seen a lot of people do way too often in this spot. With him choosing this sizing, I don't think he's going to react very well to a 3-bet. So that's the option I go for. Applying max pressure. I 3-bet to $100 when the action's folded to me. Folds back to the under the gun +2, who goes into the tank. And in my mind, I'm thinking if he does call, he's capping to himself to just a 10, and I can put more pressure on that holding on the turn in the river, as I can have pocket sixes, pocket deuces as played, and he really can't. But of course, I just like a fold here and avoid all that. And he does end up making the fold, and we take down a nice pot. Quick interruption. We only got about 3 hands we're talking about in that 1-3 session, so I'm going to pick up the action in a local home game where I play him weekly. Without further ado, let's just get into it. Nothing better than a local home game, and no better place to play in North Carolina than the Poker Academy. Always a good time and always good action. So let's get this night started with 8-9 of spades and under the gun +2. One limper ahead of us, and we're not having any of that. I raised to $15. Low jack and under the gun limper calls, and we go 3 ways to a flop of 8-5-6 rainbow. Not really concerned with too much on this flop, and with my c-bet, I'll have a pretty good understanding of where my opponents are. Under the gun checks, and I choose a bigger sizing to charge any straight draw hands like 10-9, Jack-9, Ace-9, Ace-7 suited, you get the idea. As well as lower pair plus backdoor draws like Ace-6 or Ace-5 of hearts. The low jack folds, but the under the gun limper makes the call. Turn is an absolute brick. I love to see it. It's a deuce of diamonds. Under the gun check once again, and I continue pressure with a bet of $60. Looking back on this, I actually wished I would have sized up here. If I had a complete bluff, they would want to be betting bigger on this blank turn, and value would do the same. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section. I'm always trying to get better and work on my game. Just don't kill me too much. Under the gun size decides $60 is too much and ends up folding, and we take it down. And I flash my 8 just to let them know you made a good fold. Alright, that last hand may have been a bit uneventful, but this one is a lot better. We have a stack of about 225 big blinds, and we look down at a premium king-queen suited on the big blind. Here we go. Time to spin this stack up and send some people packing early. There's an under the gun 2, and a small blind limp, and just like last hand, we aren't having any of that. We raise it to $20. I look back, I wish I would have made it like $24 to $30, but in the moment, I didn't realize the small blind had called. Now, the player in the under the gun seat is a fairly tight OMC type player, and he hasn't been splashing around with the rest of the table, so I haven't seen him get out of line all night and seems to be playing very tight ranges. So when he calls with 2 people left to act, I'm a little shocked. Under the gun 2 and small blind come along for the ride as well. 4 ways to a flop of Ace 10 3 rainbow. small blind checks, and I make somewhat of a continuation range bet, repping all the big aces, maybe even a set of 10s every now and then for $45, roughly half pot. With this sizing, I could get a lot of opponents to call with their weaker holdings and raise off some of their stronger 2-pair holdings, and this will allow me to navigate future streets easier. The tight under the gun player makes the call, and the small blind comes along as well. The turn is the bink jack of spades. We turn the absolute nuts against 2 opponents. This is what dreams are made of. Now I gotta figure out how to get all the money. The under the gun has only about $85 left behind, and I can't remember exactly the small blind stack size. My thoughts were if either player was sticking around with a decent ace, there's a good chance that Jack gave them 2-pair, or they picked up some straight draws to go along with their weaker ace. It's trap time. Small blind checks, I check it over to the under the gun player who goes all in for his last $85. Small blind folds, we snap call. He flips over the exact same hand. King, queen offsuit for a chop. We didn't really pick up many notable hands after this. A few raise and take it pots here and there, and some PLO pots that we completely missed on. We were able to book a small win, but let's head to the outro to see how we did over these 2 days.
Thank you guys for watching. The results from the 2 days will be over here. I can't tell y'all enough how much this first vlog means. So much hard work went into preparing it, and it's only gonna get better from here. The plan is to have these up at least once a week just to document the journey up the stakes. And please don't forget to like and subscribe to see more poker content. And last but not least, the comment question of the week. Who's going number 1 in the NFL draft? Is it gonna be Shador? Is it gonna be Cam Ward? Is it gonna be Abdul Carter? Let me know in the comment section. We'll talk about it. And until then, we'll see y'all next week.